meaning of things, right? So with that being said, right, we use semantics to explain everything because that's what meaning is, right?
Bro, you're
so
genius,
other thing that you said, right? Other thing you said that's really stupid is that gravity makes time go faster and slower. Do you know what gravity is, right? Gravity
Wait, can you
is
tell me what gravity
the
is?
curvature of space-time. That's like saying that the curve of a ball makes the ball go faster. That makes zero freaking sense.
I mean, it kind of does. Wait till you learn about angular momentum, but okay, anyways, moving on.
Shut up, right? Gravity is literally composed of the curvature.
Wait, what's angular momentum? Wait, let me
make it go faster, it's a part of it.
Wait, can you tell me what angular momentum is?
I know what the frick you mean, and that's
Wait, what is it? Wait, what is it?
It's obviously disanalogous to what I said.
Wait, what is angular momentum? Can you educate us on it?
Angular momentum is obviously, right, the momentum associated with angles, right? We're not going to talk about the particular definition of angles and momentum and whatnot. We already know that.
Can you calculate, wait, can you calculate how fast a ball goes using its angle?
Obviously, you can calculate how fast anything
So does that mean that it's proportionate to the amount of angles that's on the actual ball, how fast it's going?
It is somewhat relevant if you're talking. If you're outside of it,
interesting. So now it's somewhat relevant, even though there's an entire thing called angular momentum. It's somewhat relevant. You're a genius, bro. Yo, keep educating us, bro.
Hold on. No, because you're just trying to... Look, I gave an analogy, and you gave a disanalogous example to my analogy to try and appeal to rhetoric, right?
Can you explain why it's disanalogous?
No, shut up. I said, right, that the curve of a ball doesn't make it go faster. The reason why is because the curve of a ball doesn't make it do freaking anything. It's part of the ball. That's the same thing for gravity. Space-time, right? Gravity, space-time literally has gravity as one of its components.
Wait, by this logic, would you agree that gravity also doesn't make anything necessarily like move or anything? Like it doesn't act as a force, but rather things go along it, which is why it goes faster or slower?
Thank you. This guy actually knows
so you agree that this applies to time as well, right?
What do you mean?
Wait till he finds out. Wait. So you understand? So you understand that space and time fluctuate on the same axis, correct? So the reason why we have these ellipses.
That's not, wait, no. That's what you said.
You disagree?
You said they're on the same axis. Time itself is an axis.
All I mean by axis. You're
confused.
You're confused. All I mean by axis is I mean they're working amongst the same system to the same functionality in some senses. That's all I mean. Right?
Okay, go ahead.
What? There's multiple definitions of axis. You're just autistic, so you took that definition, right? But anyways, obviously we understand, right?
Go ahead.
I wasn't in reference to that. I just told you that.
Also, I beat Infinity every time. He literally banned me every debate.
That's a wonderful argument. That's a wonderful argument. That's a wonderful argument. That's a wonderful argument, bro.
You are worse than hell.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yo, he just strained him for no reason, bro. Anyways, but the thing is, right? If we understand that the way gravity works, okay, is these certain objects, they move and they have these orbital effects because they're bending and moving along gravity, okay? Can you tell me why is it that when you're up in a space station, seemingly with no gravitational presence, your clock ticks slower than it does on Earth?
Well, the thing is, time. Okay, so the clock ticks slower. Yeah, that's time dilation. The clock ticks slower. Doesn't mean that time.
So you agree time dilation exists?
I didn't disagree with that. We just had different ways of thinking about it. And you think that it's somehow
okay. Wait, so how does time dilation? Wait, no. I agree with you. Me and Einstein, we're just a couple of boneheads, bro. We just recently learned about philosophy. Me and my buddy Albert. We've barely known about it thing, and we just want to be educated. So can you explain to what proper theory should be reestablished as the theory of space and time and gravity, since seemingly time doesn't work like this? Why is it that time moves slower? Can you give us this?
What theory best explains
time is not. See, the thing is, that's the misconception of time dilation. It's not that time itself is moving slower, right? It's just that we perceive time as slower based on the speeds that we are going, right?
Wait, is time more than our perception?
Yes. Obviously.
Ooh, fire. Can you give me any example of time being outside of our perception?
What is he talking about next?
Simple, right? You see, right? Look in your room real quick. Everyone just look in your room real quick, because this guy doesn't know how.
No wonder Folk is
looking around.
Okay, right? So within, right, any shut up everyone, right? So within any interval of time you choose, let's choose 1 second, right? That is an LF1 amount of spatial frames. Do you see an LF1 amount of the universe in one particular point of your perception? No, you only see a couple of it.
What do you think I mean by perception?
You don't see all of time. What do you mean? What I think I mean by perception? There's many, just the ability.
Okay, so I'm just referring to your frame of reference. Now, I'm gonna ignore the fact that you didn't actually give me some some new formula that we can use. I'm gonna ignore the fact that you didn't actually. Excuse me. I'm gonna ignore the fact that you, for some reason, didn't actually tell me why it's the case that time moves slower, even though that's what I asked of you, and that was your only job. You failed at that. So the next question that we're gonna move to, Mr. Booga, is we're gonna move to this. Okay. Can you explain to us? Okay, just explain to us this.
Go back to touching no kids.
Can you measure? Are you able to measure time if there's just one object around?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, I mean, can you measure how like much an hour, or if an hour's gone by if you just have a singular apple in its field? Just a vacuum. You just have an apple in a vacuum. Can you tell how much time has passed?
I mean,
delete that message, please. Go ahead.
You have nothing to base that off of, so no.
This is just, oh, gotcha. You can't tell time has passed. So how do we know time exists in this empty field? Does it exist in this empty field?
Well, time is defined by the chain of events, right? If we're talking about this empty field, right, the first chain of events would be the apple existing, and obviously that would mean that time would have to exist because that would be a cause in regards to the existence caused it to consistently
Where in my analogy did I say this apple was caused?
I didn't say that you said it was caused. I'm saying
but you're assuming that, which is why you're coming to a different conclusion.
No, I'm not assuming it. If you say that it exists, right?
So do you understand what an analogy is?
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Do you think we... Okay. So if someone says, hypothetically, if someone were to go faster than the speed of light, do you think that a proper response to this would be, well, actually, I mean, obviously, we're going to assume you're going within the speed of light because... I mean, that's the fastest, universal limit. Do you think that's an efficient response?
What do you mean? Wait, what'd you say? Say that again.
I'm not clear. I'm going to repeat that for you. So if someone says, hypothetically, X were to go faster than the speed of light if they were trying to explain a point, or a hypothetical, okay? And then you tell them, well, actually, we know that the limit is actually the speed of light. It's actually, 300,000 meters per second. So obviously it would be the case that, this person has to be traveling within the speed of light. Do you think that's a productive and fruitful response to the analogy?
No, but this analogy is disanalogous.
So why are you telling me, excuse me, this analogy isn't to explain what you said. It's to explain why I disagree. So you're already off to a wrong start. But why do you respond to me by correcting something in the analogy that's purposefully ignored to convey the point?
I didn't correct anything with the analogy. You said
you just told me that it has to be existing and have a cause. We're assuming in the analogy that this is not the case because the cause doesn't matter at the moment.
If it exists, right?
You're doing it right now.
And continues to exist, right? No.
You're doing it right now.
No, shut up.
It's an analogy, you retard. Are you stupid?
Yeah, it's an analogy, and I'm literally going off.
Why are you trying to correct me and fact check the reality to an analogy, you tard member?
Listen.
Are you serious right now?
I'm simply going off.
You can't be a real human, bro. I've never seen someone do this before. This is embarrassing. Okay. So since you're gonna be this and not, no, your talking time is done. So since you're going to be a rat, right? To which I assumed you won it because you called me a rat earlier. But since you're gonna be a rat and purposefully ignore what I'm saying, here's what I'm going to give to you. I'm going to give you the mathematical proof. Okay, I'm gonna give you the mathematical proof of what do we have? Relative time, gravitational time dilation. Proof that it is actually because of gravity that we do observe these effects, okay? And you're going to disprove that. You're either going to disprove that or you're going to agree, and we're going to move on. Is that cool with you?
Wait, repeat that.
Interesting. I'd hate to be your mother, bro. Okay, let's see. We see this right here. Okay, do you disagree with this?
I don't disagree. I agree
so
with
moving
the fact
on.
that
why is it the case that, well, excuse me. So is there any part of this you disagree with at all?
So what you have to realize
it's
is
a
the
yes
nature
or
of
no.
equations and
I need to realize whether you do or don't. Because this is a mathematical proof of actual applicable terms.
Listen, if what we consider delta t prime, right? I do agree that this particular equation is what we consider delta t prime. That's what I agree with.
That's not the conclusion. This entire equation is not delta t prime. You're a fucking moron. Do you understand that?
Delta t prime is quite literally, as you said, that's what it is.
Moron, dog. Do you know what an equation is, eh? Do you know what an equation? Can you define an equation?
Define the equation, bro.
Define an equation. Oh my freaking easy. Okay, so we're just gonna do the definition, or then do the definition rhetorical, right? Okay.
So let me explain to you what an equation is. No, be quiet. We're gonna educate you. So obviously, one part of it can't completely be an equation. Do you know why that is? So can we read this for the class?
Both parts are equal to each other. So
okay. So if there's only one part, you tard member, is that an equation?
No, right? But all both
so
parts
clearly the entire equation isn't just one part, you monkey. Now that we understand this, okay? Now that we understand this, can you please explain to me the issue with this equation? Or we're done here.
What I'm trying to say is what I agree with.
What is the issue with the equation, Booga?
See, what I'm saying here, right, is that square root of 1 minus 2gm with divided by RC2 over T delta, or no, T delta times the root of that, right? But you see what I'm trying to say, right? That
I don't see what you're trying to say. It's not over anything.
Prime, that being equal to delta T prime, I agree with, right? Or no.
Okay,
what
so
I mean
you
is,
agree with the time dilation formula. Gotcha.
What I mean is that I agree that that this equals what we consider delta T prime.
You agree the formula is equivalent, you monkey? Are you stupid?
Yes, that is what I agree with.
Okay, so you conceded. Thank you. So now that you've conceded on that, let's get back to God. Now, your initial idea, okay, was that if there's for some reason there's finite causes in such a set chain, it follows that there's a leader. If we assume that there's an infinite regression, the same cause would be in reference to God. Could you explain this line? That if we assume there's an infinite regression, the same cause would be in reference to God.
I didn't say that particularly, but I will elaborate on what I said.
It's on recording. Go ahead.
No, I'll say what I actually said, right?
I just said what you actually said.
No, but we're gonna say what I actually said, right?
Go for it.
So what I did paraphrase myself is crazy, right? So, but I am technically paraphrasing, by the way, but it's the same freaking argument. Anyways,
yeah, it's okay.
Right?
You don't have to.
As I'm saying, were you this guy? Okay, so as I was trying to say,
hesitating. That's embarrassing.
As I was trying to say, right? It's very simple, right? The whole thing, right, about the equation in which where we have X amount of antecedential causes before the present, right? If we do that thing, right, and we apply it to infinite causes instead, the equation does not change, right? Because, right, whatever ordinal form we apply to the amount of antecedential causes, right, would still be the first cause regardless.
Wait, I disagree with a part of your logic already, which is integral to what you're going to continue saying. Okay, it does change. What do you think? So there being X, right? X changes its value in this instance. If you're changing it to now being an infinite regression. So you conceded it changes. What next?
That's not what I. Okay, what I mean is that it doesn't change the application of the equation. No, you're freaking stupid, right?
So you're saying a formula doesn't change even if it has different variables? You're a genius. Give your argument now.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. Actually.
Obviously, give your argument, bro. This is trivial.
What do you give my argument? I'll give an example of many formulas that doesn't actually change given the values of the equation.
What do you think I'm asking for the argument of, you fucking monkey? I just agreed to that. Continue explaining what this follows from.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared, right? No matter what you put as A, B, and A, B, or C, right?
So you're going to get local muted, and then I'm going to explain to the audience what you're doing. So this guy just not only butchered why mass is equivalent to energy, okay? But also what he did, okay, is he decided to ignore me directly saying to him that I agree with his point. He decided to directly ignore this and continue explaining his previous point. The reason why he did this is because he's afraid to actually give an argument, okay? So, and we don't want to embarrass this guy. We don't want you to embarrass yourself, okay? So what I'm going to tell you is this, Booga. I already told you I agree that this formula, okay, itself, a formula is only used to represent a rule, right? A mathematical rule. Obviously, this rule can change, or not this rule can change, but the variables inside the rule of what applies to the rule can change, right? Obviously, you're gonna have 1 + 1 equaling 2, right? If you were to say 5 + 4 = 9, right? You're using the same structure. You're using the same set of rules. You have different variables. This is trivial. Why are you explaining a proof for this, you monkey? I want an argument.
You fuck kids.
With me? Wrong nigga? What?
Okay, so you at the very least agree that the rule in this case stays the same. Okay, there you go. So you just disagreed with something that you didn't disagree with.
Hey, did you want to know something? You want to guess how many times I said that I agree that it remains the same?
Dude, you literally. Oh my freaking.
No, literally, you can't listen, monkey. What does this follow from if we agree to
what
this?
I said, right?
What does this follow from if we agree to this?
Dude, shut the frick up, right?
No, you shut up. What does it follow from, booga, if we agree to this? What is the conclusion, booga? I need to know this, booga. Tell us your conclusion and stop yapping, booga.
Okay, the conclusion to what particularly?
From what follows from the idea that they're the same.
Okay, the conclusion is very simple, right? That if you're talking about the same, if you're saying they in regards to the rule of an equation or the rule in regards to the set of equations, right? Obviously, if the rule stays the same, then the variables can change.
Okay, so you just ignored what I was saying. We can go to conclusions.
I didn't ignore anything.
That isn't what I asked you to do. That isn't what I asked you to do.
No, I asked you to clarify what you meant, and you gave me no clarification. You just said they, right? In which is
I'd like to
obviously
go to conclusions.
Conclusions. We didn't agree to any particular judge. I don't.
So
see the
do
point
you
in
agree that you think you've justified yourself and that you've effectively beaten me this entire time?
What I will say. And I will say this, right?
Okay, well, I think that I've effectively beaten you, and I think you failed to prove what you have. So if we're both satisfied with here, and I don't really want to talk to you anymore, as much as you don't want to talk to me anymore, I'm sure, we can just go to conclusions.
Well, I will say that I have proven my point, and you have not disproven
I don't give a fuck what you think. Just go to conclusions, dog. I don't give a fuck. Obviously, you're going to think you won, monkey. Or you would have conceded. This is trivial. I know this.
Yo, Booga.
Anyone can tell you this.
I got a question, Booga.
No, we can handle the question after. Go to conclusions, please.
All right, bet. I'll ask it after.
Please just go to conclusions.
I guess give your conclusion first.
Sure. So I think the reason why I've won is because he has failed to explain properly why God exists, and every attempt that he has made has been filtered and littered with inaccuracies, misunderstandings, sophistry, and complete lacking of any evidence. That's why I think I've won. Good.
Okay, well, I believe I've won simply off of the fact that he didn't debunk the claim and directly conceded to the claim, right? When I said that if you have a finite amount of causes, and this means that a first cause must necessarily exist, right, which is by definition, normal definitions, is an eternal creator, right? He then agreed to this being the case at the very least, right? Because this is the fact that in which where we have the case where he didn't disagree with this, by the way, in which where this is commonly known and seen as what an eternal creator is. So we agree that God exists under that first premise, right? And then when he tried to contend, right, the second premise in which where even if there's an infinite amount of causes, right, the rule set stays the same, the rule system of equations stays the same. Guess what? He agreed to that as well. He didn't debunk any of the arguments. He just agreed to both of them, and then we just started arguing on about rambling about irrelevant things because this guy cannot actually understand math and actually refute any sort of freaking logic. That's what it is.
Very ironic. You want to get
That's
killed?
what it was, bro. I got slayed, bro. I got killed, bro. I got murdered, bro. That's what it was.
Very fucking ironic. Yeah, so Booga, you want to explain why, or do you want me to explain why that your view just contradicts itself for God?
I mean, you already said it, right?
Oh, yeah,
you said it
to that. You're slaying, bro.
Yeah, he said it.
So do you agree, yes or no?
Dude, wait, this Tron talking?
Yes, retard.
Hey, Booga.
I can barely hear you. Let me hold on.
Alright.
Wait, what's your username, Tron?
Farts MTG. That's my.
Can you hear me now?
I'm talking about Tron. Wait, Tron, what is your user? Because I'm pretty sure you're just using like a stereo mic or something, and
it's Cock Minion. It's Cock Minion.
What?
It's Cock Minion. That's my user right now.
Nice mic you got there, brother.
Alright, well, whatever it is, I can barely hear you. Where's your username?
My username is Cockmaster. I'm not Cockmaster. It's Cock Minion. Yeah, so why do you affirm that it's just the case that God's necessary? However, he's going to be dependent by virtue of saying he's within the set. You said he's within the ordinal set.
I'm just
We'd have to necessarily be out there.
Let me just post my notes real quick. Let me look for I'm gonna look for his username so I can just. I'm just gonna boost his volume real quick because I can go Okay. All right. So. Yeah, say it. So what you're saying?
Yeah. So earlier you said God was within the ordinal set. Then when it's on rec, I can pull it up. there'll be a contradiction with your view if you were to affirm that God is necessary. That doesn't mean he's dependent on the set. If you say A is the creator of the universe, it just has to be the case that it transcends the universe, meaning it exists outside of it. But if A is an element of an ordinal set, then it's just going to be contained within the universe. So then that'll be a contradiction.
Sean, right? This follows under the definition of the universe being that universe is equivalent to everything in which exists, right? Obviously, God exists. That is the point I'm trying to prove, right? If you define universe simply, oh, everything in which exists, right? In which if God, right, were to be outside of causality in the first place and then create the universe, right, or create everything within the universe, right, then we still have it to be the case in which where it is a case where God is within this set of causality, right? What I'm trying to say here is that the definition that we're trying to establish here, or the definition that we're rambling on, is different in this case, is what I'm trying to say.
You done? What do you define as a set? Hello?
Appeal to Oxford.
Appeal to Oxford. That doesn't answer my question. What is the Oxford definition for that term that you're appealing to?
Okay.
Okay. What's a fucking set? Can you answer the fucking question?
Let him Google it, bro.
Yeah, Google it real quick. I'll let
Alright. Oh, frick
Yo,
me.
can you touch on me, Booga?
Nigga's fucking retarded.
Booga, touch me.
By the way, what you brought up is a self-referential impossibility. Because if the universe is set, let's say, set U, and defined as everything that exists, then by definition, U just contains all entities, realms, dimensions,